Hey, now, justice for Laura. I gotta say that, as I've mentioned multiple times on the channel, feel how you feel about Laura. I know the majority of the fan base don't like her. They prefer Miranda and Calvin. Personally, I don't think Calvin needs to be with anyone right now um, because of the fact that he's a dog. And in this latest episode of House of Payne, welcome back, by the way, Family Fun Night. I know it's been a few months since they've been on the air, but the whole Calvin storyline of the episode was him feeling some kind of way about Laura's shady behavior because he's noticed, thanks to, Curtis mentioning, young people on their phones, that Laura has been around her phone or basically possessive of her phone more so during the past few weeks than she's ever been. Going to the bathroom with it, never really leaving it out of her sight, even going to bed with her phone under her pillow. Now, I'm no expert on this, but isn't it like a health risk to do that kind of thing? Like have your phone underneath your pillow when you sleep? Well, then again, maybe I'm misremembering different news reports of like people who say that their phone caught fire when it was charging because they left their phone on their bed. So basically, a hot, battery in the phone for too long will cause a fire on the sheets or something like that. But I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking like, of, what do you call it, like radiation or X-rays that come from phones? Or I don't know. But yeah, it's just one of those situations where Calvin starts doing too much. But this episode really just showed Calvin is his father's son, doing too much instead of just being upfront about something. So he's become more suspicious of Laura, and some of her moves did seem shady while watching the episodes. For example, as soon as Calvin comes to the loft, she's on her laptop, but Laura, closes it when he comes in. And it's like, uh-huh. But then later on, when she opens the laptop, she's like, well, hey, actually, I was looking at these flowers for the wedding, showing that, okay, so, all right, so she wanted to surprise Calvin. But then her phone keeps going off. And when she steps I think she goes to the bedroom again, Calvin tries to go into her phone, but the passcode changed. Keep in mind, he told his dad, oh, Laura and I have each other's passcode, so there's nothing to hide. But, he tries too many times, and after failed attempts, he gets locked out. So he's become more suspicious. Her phone goes off again, and then she's like, I gotta run errands, but then she dips. But then after she comes back, and Peanut gives Calvin, what for, like, hey, man, I mean, sounds like you're projecting, because he's pretty much venting about Laura moving shady and, questioning what she's been doing. But Peanut pretty much puts him in his place. Like, look, if she hasn't been doing anything to make you doubt, then why are you doubting it? Don't project. Don't project. Just protect the relationship you have. So when Laura does come back, Calvin confronts her, and she reveals that the reason she's been secretive for the past, few weeks is because after trying on her wedding dress and then not fitting into it, she opted to get a personal trainer, and she was fearful that Calvin would think she's doing too much if she brought it up to him. So she just opted to do it herself. And her phone kept blowing up because, her personal trainer would give her, dieting tips, and, of course, being the accountability partner, it would be back and forth communication via text in regards to like, hey, how many steps did you take today? What did you eat today? Things like that. And Calvin says, oh, wow, okay, my bad. And you could just be open and honest with me about anything. And while that is a good conclusion to the episode, I just can't help but think about how Laura still doesn't know about Calvin and Miranda having sex when Calvin was drunk a couple seasons ago, nor does she know about that realtor that Calvin was about to have sex with until Curtis came over there unexpectedly and saved his butt from getting caught. Because Laura came in not 2 minutes later after the realtor had left. So essentially, Calvin is, feeling some kind of way about Laura when in fact he's the one who's been cheating. And like I said, until we get confirmation in the show, Laura is innocent. But, I just feel like Calvin, he has some nerve to be moving the way he's been moving, questioning Laura the way he has, considering the things he's been doing. Because when he told his dad that, oh yeah, everything between me and Laura is cool. This at the start of the episode. Yeah, everything between us is cool. We're just working on rebuilding trust. And I'm thinking like, what does he mean by rebuilding trust? Now, is this kind of a callback to the end of the last season when Laura thought that Calvin was creeping around, when it was actually Peanut who was on Calvin's computer on that dating website, and then Calvin had to prove it because I think that was it Miranda that came up with the idea about looking at the doorbell video cameras or something. I forgot the exact details, but at the beginning of the season, Calvin was able to prove to Laura that there was no cheating. I mean, it was Peanut using my laptop. That wasn't me, doing these shady things. So I guess maybe they're rebuilding trust from that, but I don't know. I just feel like as this season progresses, I wonder if Calvin is going to, look for just random excuses as to why he's like thinking, treating, and looking at Laura in a different way, because perhaps he doesn't want to get married to her specifically. And I think that's something to take into consideration because there's only like a few episodes left in this particular season. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.